Welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com for another North Carolina Tar Heels football commitment alert podcast. I am THI publisher Andrew Jones, and joining me is our director of football recruiting, Miss Deana King. And Deana, we have spent a lot of time in the last 8 weeks talking about class of 2024 commits. We spent a little bit of time in May talking about a 25. We're back for another 25. Gus Ritchey, four-star defensive end from Northwood High School in nearby Pittsboro, North Carolina. He has committed to play for the Tar Heels. 6'2", listed at 226. You say he's a little bit bigger than that right now and still growing. He's the number 7 overall prospect in the state of North Carolina, number 19 nationally at his position. He never released a final list, I guess. So some of the schools that have offered that he chose North Carolina over, pretty good list here. Georgia, Michigan, Notre Dame, Penn State, Oregon, Texas A&M, Miami, and a ton of regional schools. So, Deana, your thoughts on Gus Ritchey announcing for the Tar Heels?
You always brag on me about my radar about kids. I told you a long time ago that Gus Ritchey was probably going to be a Tar Heel just by everything that he did. He was consistently at Carolina. He consistently came to UNC ball games without an offer. It was like he was just basically dying for that offer. And when he finally got it, you could tell how happy he was when he finally got that offer from Coach Brown. And so he has consistently been at UNC. He's probably been at North Carolina more than anybody that I know of here recently. I mean, he's a neighbor. Pittsburgh is what, 30 minutes from Chapel Hill. So it's just right down the road. So it's easily he can get there and come to anything. So huge pickup. Like I said, very versatile athlete. A lot of schools recruited him as a tight end. North Carolina's recruited him on defensive side of the ball, the defensive end position. Of course, in talking to Gus, he thinks he can play either way, and he's very confident of his ability. And, with several schools recruiting him as a tight end, we'll see what happens. But right now, defensive side of the ball. He also played basketball. He was a teammate of Drake Powell, UNC basketball commit. So Northwood had a really good basketball team with him being a member of it. So there's a lot to like about Gus Ritchey. Very, very outspoken and very friendly guy, always willing to do an interview. Just a kid that typifies what Coach Brown, what kind of kid he wants coming and playing for him.
Okay, this is what I want to see this winter. I'm going to go to Northwood, watch a game. I want to see Drake Powell in the left wing, pop out to the top of the key, get a pass, have Ritchie come over and set a ball screen for him.
Mm-hmm. That would be good.
The first time I remember Gus Ritchey really being squarely on the radar was during the NCAA tournament a year and a half ago. If you remember, I remember this vividly. It was in Philadelphia for the regionals, and you and I were on the phone. If you remember, we had a conversation. I was trying to get my steps, and I'm walking in Philadelphia, and there's cars coming by, and it was kind of hard to hear me and everything. And you like, Andrew, we got a Gus Ritchey store in Edmond. We got to run at some point because, I'm so overloaded with basketball during that tournament run. And I remember going in there that night and seeing the Gus Ritchey story and saying, well, it's an introduction piece. I got to figure out when I'm going to slide this thing in there. But do you remember that? Do you remember when that sat in admin for a while during the tournament? So every time his name has come up, I've always thought of that for some reason. And the fact that you were so far ahead on him, and the importance of making sure we got that out there. We just don't run articles on prospects just for the sake of filling up space. We got plenty of content. We don't need to worry about filling up space. We want to write stuff on kids that are squarely on the radar. And he was one you were insistent. Andrew, you got to get him up there. We got to find a spot. And you were right. You were on him all along. Now, you said he's been to Carolina a bunch of times. That's obvious. He's right down the road. But when did you start getting the vibe that, this was it? This was where he wanted to go. And as long as they didn't screw up the recruitment, that they were probably going to land him because he was set on Carolina.
When he got the offer, I mean, you could tell in the words how excited he was. A lot of kids are excited when they get an offer, and especially if it's an offer that, I know a lot of people don't want to hear the dream school slogan.
That.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't use it in a lot of articles, because people just kind of cringe when they say dream school, but I definitely I believed in what Gus when he said, they were, one of my, it's right close, and I've always wanted to play there. He came to Showtime camp, did really well there. In fact, that's when he officially kind of decided that Carolina's where he wanted to go, just being around the other kids and the coaching staff. And he's built a really good relationship with Coach Cross and, of course, with Coach Brown and Coach Chisit. So, he's he's not the one that wants a lot of focus on him, but he's very willing to do interviews. I mean, he's one of the best ones I've ever dealt with interviews. I've told you that. I was like, if we want a Gus Ritchey article, all I have to do is just reach out to him and we'll have something. He's that type of kid. And
the way he went about letting you know,
I mean, he told me real early during the week. Just to be honest, he told me after he called the coaching staff.
Gus Ritchey, 4-star defensive end from Northwood High School in nearby Pittsburgh, the number 7 overall prospect in North Carolina in the class of 2025, number 19 nationally in his position, second commit 2025, joining in-state quarterback Bryce Baker. So that's 2 in 2025. And Deana also told you guys a while ago that they were going to shift gears hard this month on 2025. So I have a feeling that they are really mission-minded to get a lot of dudes in even earlier for this class. So 2 are in the books now, with Gus Ritchey being number 2. If you like this video, don't forget to click like on it. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notifications every time we upload a video, which is a ton. If you have not been around for our daily drops, 5 days a week, guys, daily drops. And with fall camp coming up, we're going to have a ton of stuff here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. Go ahead.
I got one more point. You mentioned 2025 and getting an early start on to 2025. 2 in-state kids, Bryce Baker's number 3, Richie's number 7. So a great start in-state, trying to build the in-state place, recruiting for the 2025 team.
Yeah, and we've got a 2025 discussion coming up here in about 10 days or so. We're going to really dive head first into the class of 2025. So you won't want to miss that. You also don't want to miss those nuggets on the board. Just $8.33 a month. You could be a Tar Heel insider too, and join a great community of people just like you that are passionate Tar Heel fans, just like you. And they are all over our message boards for football, basketball, and recruiting for both sports. She's Deana. I'm AJ. Thanks for stopping by.